All right. So now the youth are going to do the service itself. They're going to be talking about what we did this last week through a slideshow. There's a lot of slides, so bear with us. But we don't have a lot of pictures of the people we were actually serving because we weren't supposed to take pictures of them. So they'll try to explain what was going on for all that. We're sitting in a half circle because every night we debriefed after what we did and gave highs and lows of the day and talked about that. These kids talked a ton each night. They're there forever, so hopefully they have lots to tell you about. So I'm not going to waste any more of their time, and we'll go ahead and kick this thing off.
Anybody missing anything? Oh, William. It has receipts from Burger King and Winco.
That could be mine. That could be the one I got for the whole year. It could be mine. Your husband in that van and not mine. I knew I grabbed it right before we left.
Now you have some idea how the week went.
Now I'm ready.
We have lots of things to share about those things, and I don't know exactly what is going on at this moment. See, I have no control. A week of no control. I have leaders that just take the lead, and they make it fun. They do a great job. I don't know, we must have picked those potato chips up on our way.
There's a story behind that.
I'm sure there is, but it wasn't in my van story. So we're going to start off the pre-trip meeting. Oh, we gathered together, and we went over what was going to happen, how things were going to go, and I tried to tell them everything that I possibly could to help them get a picture of where they were going, what they were doing. We prayed together. We had, and then we started Sunday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. And we took a last group picture. We got a group picture there. There we go. That was what we looked like before we left. Everybody packed their bags the night before and put them in the van, and then we just sailed off shortly after that. Yes, I guess that's what it looked like.
That's what it looks like at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, now, here we go. We didn't miss a picture. Oh, we made it there really quickly. Was that Portland? Where was that?
Down in Portland.
Down in Portland. We got on the road. So you guys, we didn't rehearse this. Okay, impromptu. So if one of you guys want to see a picture you want to share, raise your hands, jump up, stop me, and we'll move on. All right, devotions. I started a devotion book, and the devotion book looked like that inside, and it was, what's your GPS? And Isaiah 30, as you heard just a little bit of portion from that, we read that together, and that passage is what the book was on. And we walked through that. In the book, every morning, it would ask us a couple questions. It would say, breathe deeply and allow the Holy Spirit to begin working within your life and seek God. And we would repeat something each day together. Sorry, I didn't know the slide was coming up, as you know. And it would say, here we go. Lord, show me the right road and help me to walk it. Show me the right road and help me to walk it. And we would say that together each morning. We would also look at the weather and what it looked like, and we would look at our mood, and we would circle our little mood swing. Then we would, anyway, we traveled on, we would watch, we did all kinds of things on the way. Keep moving. We had a great time traveling. We were very close, yeah, very close. We took every seat, there was no spare seat, so you couldn't spread, you couldn't, we were close. We looked like the FBI everywhere we went. Huh? Oh, Eagle 1 and Nighthawk. That's who we were. Keep moving forward. Yes. some scenery on the way.
Hey!
Scenery. We had a lot of pictures. Toll. We had to pay a toll to get
That's the California Fruit Inspection Station.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I wasn't sleeping, but, you know. We didn't miss much. Flat tire. We just about got there. Wasn't less than an hour, I think.
We were about 15 miles from I will find it out.
Okay. Flat tire. You know, I don't know. There's only one trip I've ever taken where we didn't have some kind of trouble. So I like to spend my time in car repair places. You know, some people take lots of pictures and of everything, and we have such wonderful, you'll really see the entire journey. If you haven't seen California, I'm showing it to you.
Isn't it so brown and lovely?
They look enthused, don't they?
Hey, guess what we ran into? Traffic.
Shasta is very, very low. They are in a drought. It's probably one of the lowest times I've ever driven by and seen it. It really looks low. We also went through, when we came, the fires were really bad, and the vision was really, really bad. But when we came back home, it was much better, much clearer. In-N-Out Burgers. We had to stop on our way, can you tell?
I don't know the story behind this picture. I would like to know.
Okay, so is this on? Yeah, no, okay. Anyways, so in the car, Helena kept taking pictures of all of us, but none with her in it. So me and Alex and Brianna, just like everyone that was sitting back there, we kept taking our phone and taking pictures of her. So I'm actually shocked that it was on the slideshow because she hated it. But yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, this is the Bay Bridge, not the Golden Gate Bridge. Selena was bound to determine that this was the Golden Gate Bridge. She even put it on Facebook that she crossed off something on her bucket list, and then when she found out it wasn't, she wasn't very happy.
Yes, there was 3 Golden Gate Bridges. And we never crossed a Golden Gate Bridge.
Did you see the Golden Gate Bridge?
In the fall, we were out
I went, you couldn't even see the bridge.
The sun is setting and we're not there yet.
We tried. The Golden Gate Bridge. There's some beautiful bridges in the city.
We arrived at the outpost around 8:17, and we circled around there. We saw our sign. We parked. When you get there was a lot of nightlife going on. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of icky on the ground. And Jared and I were trying to get into the building and raise them and it was dark, and I thought, dark is not good. Because I know that usually you see a light on and you knock on the door and they'll come and put your face in the window. So we tried that and it did not work. We circled the FBI vans several times. The community thought probably we were, And so anyway, we sat and I said, well, let's move a little further away from this area because I think people were getting a little overwhelmed sitting within the area that we're on. 6th Street is probably the most active part of nightlife, of homelessness. And so there's a lot of people, if you think about it, they don't have a place to sleep. They sleep a lot in the daylight so nothing happens, so they roam a lot at night. It's like their bedroom, or their living room in the evening. You want to share something? Oh. And so there's a lot of people out, and there's a lot of things going on in the evening, especially. And so, and you'll see later, the daytime is when they do a lot of their sleeping. So they're up a lot at night. So we parked a little further away, and we went to, we scrambled around and got a hotel. We got a fabulous hotel, I thought, for the last minute. We're getting 5 rooms, and slept for the night. Day 1, we met together, and who's day 1? Okay.
So day 1 came about. We had to get out of our nice comfy beds we had after a long day's drive. Then we met in Julie's room for a morning devotion to find out what we could find out from the outpost, trying to get a hold of people. I don't know how many messages Julie, Talina, and I left our phones the night before, hoping to get a hold of someone. At this point, we hadn't heard yet, so we had our devotion and made our plans for breakfast. And everybody's feeling ready, and we found an IHOP across the street. They were happy to see us, I'm pretty sure. There's a couple of tables, everybody get ready for breakfast. And in the meantime of this, I was sitting and talking to Julie, and we'll be deciding to with Julie here in a minute. And I said, Julie, they got a Facebook page. Should I just give a message on Facebook? She goes, anything will help. So I gave a message on Facebook. Was it, Julie, about 15 minutes later, you got a phone call? You got a phone call, they got the message on Facebook. So we made plans from there, and we finished our breakfast, went back, finished loading up, and headed off to the mission. And here we are coming into their, what they use as their rec hall and their sanctuary for their church services. And we got all set up, and a little basketball court inside there that they take away. There's kind of chain link fences that block it off, so they're playing basketball. They still have their band area. And during Sunday services, they open that all up and put chairs in. We're doing, did you read there? Orientation, yes, we're doing orientation that morning. So that's the sign of the front door as you enter from the street on 6th Street. Your sign. But we got all settled in and didn't really go anyplace after that point. They were still trying to get things figured out because we were earlier when they planned on us being. The mess up was they thought we were coming Monday night, not Sunday night. Lines got crossed in the communication. So they kind of scrambled. So what we did the first night was we went down the street to the Jeep Friend Recreation Center and got to watch a group of kids do their final dress rehearsal for Peter Pan. And it's by a group called United Players. And with the youth of the area. It was we had a lot of fun watching them. We got to critique them. And they really like hearing our critiques better than their teachers and their peers there. So. And then we came back from that and started to play some dodgeball in their court beside the jail. Steve just chilling out in the playhouse. And while we're there, we were playing basketball and dodgeball. The kids from the play came up as a part of the outpost also. And they started, we had a pretty mean dodgeball competition going on for a while. But you guys played for like 2 hours straight?
That girl right there, the one that's squatting down. Yeah. I'm a huge dodgeball fan. That's probably a bunch of other people in here, and I've never seen a girl throw as hard as she does. Her
like every time she threw, it would be like the Red Seas and everything.
We caught Eric.
Yeah, if you walk out the back door of the building we're in, around the corner of this, you knew when you threw the ball because it sounded like a small bomb went off and hit the wall.
Yeah.
Big arm. So they played forever. We had older teenagers and younger teenagers in the group. And they all mixed together. There's Wendy sitting next to Alicia. She played Wendy in the play. And she just, I mean, all the kids they had there took very well to ours, and our kids took very well to them. Lots of dodgeball pictures. They played multiple games. That's our kitchen area, where you gotta have our meals out. That's the girls' bathroom. Looks like two things. There's one here. More dodgeball. And more dodgeball. Hey, some more dodgeball.
They probably played about 3 hours of dodgeball.
And this is the murals on the walls they've had painted. There's a couple more on the back. This one says King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And that's inside the same area I showed you. There was a little bit ago with their stage and their deal.
It's non-dodgeball play.
This is, that's the girls' room before it got messy.
So my staircase is still sitting.
Before, yeah, they got a little bit here as the week went on. And they're sitting around. Got a pool table for us to play on.
Always.
Which one was that?
Scooch buns. Scooch buns.
Oh, Scoocher Buds. Oh, man, yeah. That game is they take one open chair, and as the person tries to sit down, everybody has to slide over so they can't get the chair. And they can tell you switch directions. Well, it got kind of wild for a while. We have some of their youth there also, but we were knocking chairs over, and they were knocking chairs over, but we had a good time on that one. Oh, we just the same.
You guys can grab it.
I would like to say that this is a very aggressive game that we played. We only there'd be one person in the middle, everyone else in a seat, and there'd be one seat that the person in the middle has to sit on. And you go around in a circle and make sure you stay as tight as you can, that's why we're so close together, and keep them from sitting down. We played that game for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It took at least 5 to 7 minutes for every single person trying to get to the seat. Just how difficult it was to find it.
Hey, look, more dodgeball. I think this was the older youth. The younger youth left. This is the older youth that showed up for their youth night. And they played for a couple more hours. Where's that one at? Oh, that's looking up the street from our area where we're staying at, down 6th Street. This is their backyard. San Francisco is mandatory recycling and composting. And right out back, they have their own little garden right off the little deck. And these are some of the signs they have there. District 12, so many miles, and Harry Potter's something, Hogwarts so far. Some of the stuff with their youth and their people there. There's some of our youth playing some games with their youth. So at lunchtime, everybody got to make their own sandwich, get a bag of chips, and sit down. More pool time. No, basketball at that point. I think their youth were gone. So a picture of their murals. There's like some more. That other one on the far right, there's at the edge of the back wall where our vans are parked below. And then some more Scooter Buds. I don't know what's going on with this one, I'm afraid to ask. But basically that day was kind of a little more relaxed day because of the mess up we went to the play. And that's the guy right there playing the guitar that has the arm, that's JC. And then I can't remember the other girl's name sitting next to her. Mookie, yeah, she played Peter Pan in the play. Looks like more dodgeball. Can you tell there's a theme with the first day? A lot of dodgeball. In fact, Mandy, our host there, said she's never seen them play that much dodgeball in one day, so. But her kids are very competitive too, they love dodgeball. rest of you guys on the dog all day? No? That's Mandy standing there in the orange shirt, and the gal saying in front of her is one of the help with the play, with United Players. And there you go sitting there. This is our nightlight. This is our office of your stage and their band equipment. So this is what you got up there in the morning when the lights are still out. At least some of our leaders when we like to sit up there in the morning a little bit where it's quiet. And that was our nightlight in our sanctuary.
There were these couches that we pulled out, and in San Francisco there's a lot of SROs. They're really small rooms, and there were kids and their parents. There were a few of there were families that lived in these really small rooms, and they shared one bathroom with 50 to 65 people every day. And there was these couches inside Mission Outpost, and since there are no couches in these small rooms, they would come in and they would come to these couches and they would sit down and take a nap because they couldn't sit on the couch and there wasn't a couch for them to sit. It was really cool that Mission Outpost provided those couches for the kids.
Okay, day 2.
Hello. Okay, so day 2 was our first real day going out on 6th Street and over to our first mission, which was at St. Anthony's. St. Anthony's has a huge meal program for homeless and anyone who's in just extreme poverty. Some people just don't even know where their next meal is coming from, even if they have a roof over their heads. So we were able to walk the streets and start meeting the people who live in that community. So I think this is us on our way there. It's just a few blocks away. On our way, she took us past this mural. I wish I could remember all the details, but it has several different sections, and it just really touched all of us. All the people in the murals are actual people in the community. And it has like different sections, and the one section is like how it really looks there, and one is the dream of how the people in the community want it to be. And it was just beautifully done, and it was really, it was just a great experience for us to hear all about that and the people's stories.
That's how it looks now. That's what it looks now. That's what they'd like.
And that's their dream.
That was the dream of the people, is how they'd like it to look.
And this is on the same wall. It's just beautiful artwork. There's probably a meaning that we didn't know yet. And this is all walking over to St. Anthony's here.
Something else about these murals, if you look at the signs, you can't see these photos look really good. But they have comments of what they think about the community on there. One of them was cars will stop for pedestrians, but normally don't. And the one that's of the actual community at the time. And another one that's their dream community. There's a garden area in the photo that says, you know, you grow it or help grow it, get it for free. There's a beautiful apartment complex that says subsidized housing, so everyone has a home. They had little comments of the people that live there all the time and input to the painter of that, and he actually added those to it.
I want to say something about this picture, not just because it has my son in it, but you see that swirl there? That's actually a saxophone player. And what struck me about that was that smoke and that swirl is lifting up into heaven. And that was a good visual picture for me, thinking about, you know, when we're praying or when we're praising. It's not just words coming out of our mouth. It actually reaches up into heaven and touches God's heart.
That is a church that we'll hopefully get to talk about later because it is a different program on a different day, and it's just loved it, so whoever does Wednesday, we'll talk about that, I think. Okay, this is inside St. Anthony's, and we're getting our like orientation before we go to either serve in food or in clothing. And the lady who did our orientation, she's been doing it for years, and she has an amazing heart to serve people. Here are food service people. Their program is different. It's not just a soup kitchen, so like here's your food and go. They want their dining room to be like a family, and they serve 2,400 meals approximately each day. They feed people until they're full. I don't know if any of the kids want to talk about this. I thought this was a huge day, so please take over from me if you would like to.
So St. Anthony's was probably one of the first, like, only times that I actually felt like I was doing something great, or like, I don't know if that's the right word to say, but I know that when we would go and serve them, we would, there was this lady that had this sign that would go all the way around the room, and we just bring their plates down, and it was so cool too, because when we would give them the plate of food, without even asking, they would just slide it all the way down for them to eat, like just kind of like, they had a great way of communication, and they were just so, what's that word? They were like family, like they treated each other like family. I could talk about this forever, but there's this one gentleman that like, actually him, sorry. The main lady, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. This main lady would have us switch and rotate jobs. And so one position I got to do busing, which was I'd have this huge bin and I'd go around and gather all of the plates. And so after like a while doing that, like it's cool because I think that's the best job because you go over and you have like to talk to them and you get to interact with them. And it's cool because you pass them and they'd be like, hey Bree, because you have like the name tags and they want to use your name because you would use theirs. You would take, the lady wants us, that talked to us, I don't remember her name, but she told us that we need to ask them what their name is because sometimes people they don't even hear their name for like ever. And so we would ask them, hey, what's your name? And it's like, oh, my name is such and such. And it's like, oh, nice to meet you. And it's just really cool. And when I was busing, this one guy, I went to go grab his plate, and he's like, oh no, I'm not done with this. And he kept leaving like his oranges and the cups, because there's so much stuff. Okay, so I'm trying to get it all together, and I can't think. So they have these little tickets, and they get food, like so new trays and trays and trays of food. But they would take the spaghetti. This one guy would take the spaghetti, put it into his container, and then leave his cup on the table, and then he leaves orange on the table, and he would give his donuts to his friend. Because this guy would come around and get all the juices from the tables and put it in, get his canisters or whatever, and pour all his juices. And this one Asian lady would come around with, take all the fruit and oranges off the tables. Like, they just all have this great way of communication, and it's just really cool to see how, like, even though they were full, they would leave their leftovers and stuff for the other people, or they would like save their food because they knew that their friend would want it later. Or it's just really cool. I know, yeah. I have a lot to say, but I can't think or speak at the moment. So
another thing, at St. Anthony's, you learn that the people there are from everywhere. There are other volunteers besides us, and they're from Taiwan. And they're volunteering with us. And the people that were homeless, they were from all around. There are people who walked from in Portland or St. Helens all the way down there, just because it's better than down there. And there's also a lot of different continental people. There's people from probably Mexico, Europe, Asia, all around, just to come here and I can't really think now, but there's some people there that come from all around.
Standing up. Also, while we were at St. Anthony's, I just thought of this now, but there was one thing that really struck me while we were there, and we would actually sit and we would have lunch with the guests that were there, and they made it very clear, like one of the people who were volunteering, to treat the people who came in like they were family. They called them guests, they treated them as guests like we were serving people in a restaurant. And they actually had us sit and have our lunch with them, and they said part of this experience is not only to serve, but to be served. And so they split us apart, and I sat at this table with this group of people, and just kind of talked to them and stuff. And I was shocked at how many questions they had for me. Like, I thought I was there to listen and get a chance to talk to these people. Like the lady told us, she's like, some of these people go weeks without hearing their own name or being recognized, because often when people walk by homeless, they try not to make eye contact, and they don't treat them as people. So, like, when they talk to you, they made it very clear to try to ask you questions and find out about you. Like, I feel how they would want to be treated. And so I was just sitting, like, waiting to ask them questions and learn about them and give them a chance to talk. But instead, the whole time, they were just, so when did you graduate? What are you doing next year? What are your plans? And, like, they just wanted to know everything about me. And at one point, one man said, you know, you hear on the news about all these teenagers doing terrible things, and you see things about gang violence and just all the horrible things teenagers are into now. But what you don't see is the kids who are out here that are serving God and doing work, whose hearts are in the right places. And I also felt like that went the same way. For we hear all these terrible things about people on the streets and all the violence in San Francisco and in certain areas and such. But what we really don't hear about is all of these wonderful people who just want to spend their time learning about a teenage girl who's there for a few hours. You know, we don't hear about these programs like St. Anthony's and the Open Hands Project. We don't hear about all the wonderful things that are going on in these areas. And that was really cool for me, and it just made me feel a lot better about the whole situation, knowing that there were so many different ways these people could get help.
So it looks like we've already left St. Anthony's and we're back at the mission, but I have to say one more thing about St. Anthony's. We all left there, but I think that like it was our first experience. We were almost on a high because we felt so incredibly blessed. There is pain and brokenness, and you can't avoid seeing that, but the overall thing that we felt there was the gratefulness and gratitude of the people that we were serving, and it was beautiful.
One more thing about St. Anthony's. Half of us went to the clothing, and half of us went downstairs to help a guy named Gary. And he was really awesome. He was a really funny guy, and he enjoyed our company because he works down there in the basement all by himself, sorting clothes and school supplies. And we sorted a whole bunch of boxes, like girls' clothing, boys' clothing, and like just backpacks and bags. And it was probably an area about the size of the side section up here, just full of boxes. And we sorted them, opened them, and put them in the correct categories. And he said that we did about 3 weeks worth of work for him. And we also did a giant bin of school supplies donated by people in from different retail stores. And he said that they would not have done it without us because they're having their back to school meeting because their school starts next week. And so they do about 300 kids, like 300 packages for kids that can't, afford it. And we just helped a lot of kids just doing that and felt really great.
I'd like to say something about this Monopoly. I'm talking about my group right now, and Kyle. Me and Kyle, we got numbers. The highest bets got number 1 bag, the second highest person got this number 2 bag. And as it went down, the money and everything else, the hotels and properties, they all changed differently depending on the number. And so, it's funny how me and Kyle both got 1. That's the best bag in there. But with my team, even though I had 1, Colin had, whatever you had?
6, the lowest.
He had the lowest 1, and it was more of a lesson for people, but Colin survived to the very last round before we stopped. And there it is. And Colby was not having a good time just because he didn't quite make it that far. He got back. Yeah, he got back 5 and went out. Hannah was in on the very last round, and it was amazing because it was a lesson that was well learned, and just trying to get by. Just how, no matter where you are in your situation, Hannah was at bag number 2, I'm bag number 1. Bag number 1 should have been the best, but I had to continue paying hand continuously. I was going down to bankrupt pretty soon. And Colin was going to probably beat me sooner or later. Even though I had graduated at 6. Also, another thing about the Monopoly thing is, if you were there, like, what would happen is people with more positive attitudes, even if they had the better bags, or even the lesser bags, it always seemed like the person with the most attitude always like lasted a little bit longer than everyone else. Like, some people had those like 4 sports about the game, and they had like bags 3 and 4, which were decent bags, but they were like the first ones to go out. And for example, people with bag number 6 or 5, which were the worst bags in the game. Sometimes I think Colin lasted the whole game, and just because he had a good attitude about it, and which was kind of cool because the Monopoly game was kind of like a mini San Francisco life thing. Like the bags 5 and 6 would be the homeless people, people who don't have much or anything. Bags 3 and 4 would be like commoners like us who have a home and have a job and everything. And bags 1 and 2 would be those people who are too much into everything and go for money and don't look at all the small people and all the homeless. That's kind of cool to play Monopoly a different version like that.
Getting late, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to probably hurry and skip to the next day. Talk quickly.
Okay, so I need to clarify that on day 3 and day 4, we had to rotate. And so people who did stuff on day 3, the other team was doing the complete opposite on those days, and then we switched. And we had 3 kids that didn't get to do Project Open Hands that were too young, so they actually had to repeat the food bank and bags of love. So I was with the first team to do the prayer walk and hand out bags of love and do the food bank. And so that Raymond was our youth, he's the youth leader, pastor at the church, and he took us around the community and had us stop and pray for different organizations in the area that influenced the area, influenced the youth. And this here was our first stop on the prayer walk, and this is actually a building that used to be an apartment building. I believe I couldn't hear, the street was so loud. And it was so bad that they asked an artist to come in and do art on it, and it was so bad and run down that he portrayed that even the furniture was trying to leave the building. And that's a couch coming off the roof and a tub coming out the window, so that was pretty cool. I have to say that when you get to this area and you walk out your door, to be brutally honest, what you smell is urine, fills the air, and drugs. And I was scared and terrified to even walk down the street when we first got there, because it is a scary place. 6th Street, when we were at St. Anthony's and they would make conversation and they would ask us where we were staying, and we would say 6th Street, even the homeless people would go, oh. Because she explained to us that the homeless population has been pushed into an area, which is 6th Street, and they try and keep that area maintained or contained and not spill over, because literally you walk 1 block over and you're in the main shopping district, beautiful area, shopping malls, and you walk 3 blocks over and you see something. I mean, it's just the most crazy thing that you've ever experienced, but it was a complete culture shock, I think, for most of us. This here was the Gene Miller Recreation, we prayed for them, and then he took us down the street to a park where it used to be the old elementary school. And one person called, they actually made a new elementary school and they moved it. And one person's voice calling the media drew attention to this rundown old school. And they came back and said, okay, well, we've drawn too much attention to this. We're going to build a beautiful park. And so that's the park. And then we just went through various places praying for the vets, praying for the United Players, and just lifting up the neighborhood in prayer. So then after we went through on the prayer walk, we came back and we got our bags of love that we
had to hand out to the people, and he took us back to the park, and we had to hand out the bags to the people there, and we had Bibles, and then we walked up the street and handed them out to the people on the street, and we had to make conversation and make eye contact. And I wish Jonathan was up here, because there was at one point, they warned us, don't take anything with you, because they will try and take it from you if they see it. And we had like not paper sacks, just regular cloth sacks to put the bags in. And a lady saw the bag and saw Jonathan, and literally tried to take the bag from him and was digging through his bag, and he handled it really well. And then we ended up at the food bank, where we were taken in, and we had huge bins that we had to sift through, and it was, yeah.
Okay, so we got there, it was really boring at first, so Steve and I decided to start a competition with everyone, and we ended up winning, by the way. And so,
You ended up winning 2 against 1, because I was by myself, I just need to say that.
those are pears, they're not potatoes, they're just brown pears, they're perfectly fine. And everyone started to have fun, and it was really fun competing with each other, even though we're not supposed to compete with each other. So my mom and I ended up doing like 52 boxes of tomatoes, but like 30 boxes of pears. And the people at the food bank, they said that they've never seen so much boxes come in and out. And what happened was we were doing the next shift's work because we were doing it so fast, and so they had to stop us and end the shift early because it was the fastest they've ever seen us go.
So like you said, how are we doing so quickly? We had to stop us early. Everyone that was doing it that day, including me, were disappointed because there was only 2 containers left, and they were almost completely done, but we couldn't complete them because we had to go, and they didn't need us anymore because there was still one more shift coming. So everyone that day was all disappointed because we almost finished all the boxes, but we didn't quite get all the way through.
And then after we got back, one team went to, which is one of my highs of the whole week, was an organization that was literally right across the street from where we were staying, and it was called City Team. And this organization is a men's recovery group. They're actually everywhere, but they're this specific one. This is City Team. And what they do is they're a men's recovery group, and the people that are recovering in the group actually come, they serve and they take care of it. But one of the guys there, his name was Sam, and he was just the funniest guy. He just kept it lively and happy. And but they had a group of us that was serving, and then they had a group of us that would take the food out and the plates to the people. And we would get encouraged to sit to talk to them. And
Okay, so I actually was at City Team the first night, and I loved it because the people that were working there made you feel like family, and like you weren't just people that were doing volunteer work. They made you feel comfortable, and it was really funny. And there was actually this one guy's left. They were like just so funny, and there's this one guy, he like, came in to eat, and before that, the workers were like, okay, you can't take the food out with you. So this guy actually got a sandwich bag from some other person, and he took the plate, the fork, the knife, and everything, and put it in the sandwich bag, and was about to walk out the door with it, and then we kind of had to stop him. So that was like kind of funny. But it was really fun, and I loved it. And I shared my testimony.
But just to touch on Sam, him and another guy there, was named Sergio, they were actually rival gang members. They're both in the recovery program, and he was in the Bloods and the other guy was in the Blues or something like that. And and he said that when he came into the program, that was probably the hardest thing that he had to get past, was because for all intents and purposes, he should be shooting or killing the guy that he was in a recovery program with. And now they were really good friends. And at the end of it, I asked him, how many years have you been clean and sober? And he said, well, thank you for the compliment, but I've actually only been clean and sober for 2 months. And it kind of hit me because I started to cry, and I asked him if we could pray for him.
Anyway, so these are probably one of the highlights of my week, because you go in there, and like I go in, and I was really excited to go and serve these people because I love waiting anyways. And so I really wanted to go to that though. Okay. So, and I'll happily serve these people in the beginning and smile, and I'll talk to them. And then this first guy, his name was Ian, and he said, "Thank you, and you're so beautiful," and it just made my entire day, and it like really lifted me up, and they had this music playing. So I started kind of like dancing around and smiling to these people and making like random conversations with them. And I started this little like sassy attitude towards Sam because he started that with me. So we kind of do these weird things. And one of the owners or whatever gave me this big like box of muffins and cupcakes. And he's like, "Here, you can go get rid of these. Like, just go give them to all people." I'm like, "Oh, that's so exciting." So I was like running around to all the tables trying to get all these people to like get rid of the entire box. It wasn't a dance. I was just hopping around and I was advertising them for people. That's all I was doing. It was, no, it's not. And these people, like every word they said, and if it was like "thank you" or "God bless you," it was just so sincere and full of love. It just lifted you up and wanted you. Like it made you want to give them everything and give back to them even though you were the one serving them.
So the pictures you're looking at now are pictures of the Catholic church we went to, and they opened it from, I can't remember the time, but, the homeless people actually got to go in there and sleep in the pews, and it was really good to know that they had a good place to sleep, and you could hear people snoring, and it was really quiet and peaceful in there, and it was really pretty.
I just want to touch on this one too. So when we first walked in this church, like the only word that I could think of was beautiful. Not like the church itself was gorgeous, but just because all of these people had this place to stay that was so peaceful and safe. And as Julie talked about earlier, a lot of them don't have a place to go at night, so they just roam the streets. And I mean, this was the kind of biggest shock for me because we came in at nighttime, and yeah, there was a lot of people on the street, but then we walked out the next day, there were so many more that it almost made me think, okay, the homeless situation isn't as bad as I tried to tell myself it was. But then as soon as we walked in this church, and we just saw pews upon pews of people who probably didn't have anywhere to go the night before, it was just like the biggest reality check for me that, oh my gosh, all of these people were probably up wandering all night long, afraid. And what we also talked about was that the homeless are probably one of the most, I guess, like, attacked. I don't really know how to say this, but they're targeted because a lot of them, like, really, I mean, obviously they're not going to have anything on them to protect themselves, and they're just out in the open at nighttime. So, like, just the fact that they had somewhere that was safe to go during the day was awesome. And Mandy, the lady that was touring us around, read something for us, and it said, like, love doesn't smell of incense and things. It smells of urine, and it smells of sweat and odor and tiredness. And it was just really awesome that this church was opened up for people to come in no matter what their situation was, and that they could all just feel safe.
And so then the next day, we kind of switched. The people that did the prayer walk and the bags of love went to open hands, and the people who were at open hands went and did the prayer walk and the bags of love. And I was kind of the designated driver for taking people over to the food bank, since Nighthawk, the better of the two vehicles, was the only one in a parking position in order to get out. And so I don't know what these pictures are. Who wants to tell me what these pictures are?
So right here is the City Hall, and it was just like a couple blocks away from 6th Street. And if you look at the top, well, you can't really see right now, but the top there was like gold, actual gold, it was real gold. And then I told Selena, I said, it wouldn't look any different if it was just painted gold, and it just looks really greedy of them to put actual gold on the City Hall. It just didn't feel right.
So the second day, this is the group that was inside the park talking with the homeless that were there. So that's not the heart of City Hall.
City Hall outside the little park up front. There were
Open hands. Who's going to share about open hands?
Okay, so Open Hands is, it specializes in serving nutritious meals to people with compromised immune systems, whether it be from AIDS, HIV, or like diabetes, MS, different things. So it's a different kind of a food bank, kind of. They have clients come in and shop for them, and if they can't come in themselves, and they take it to them. They prep some meals, they're frozen. It's all like really good, healthy, nutritious food. And they actually had us have lunch with them too, so we got to talk to other volunteers there, and even I think some people who come there for their meals. Someone else want to share?
No, we're gonna have to close.
Okay, I know it's so late, I'm sorry. Okay, bye.
There are so many memories and so many things that we have to share, and I know it's 15 after, and we have to close it up. But we did ask our students to share something the very last day, what they took away from our trip. Jared led us through, I'll say this real quick, he led us through our last sightseeing day to Alcatraz, and got us on buses and did all those things and got us back, which I was very thankful for. But anyway, what we took away, each student, if you'll just take one little sentence that you took away from this, and we'll close with prayer. All right.
Whenever you hear an ambulance, think of somebody getting help and don't feel bad for them. That actually homeless people are a lot nicer than they appear to be on like shows and stuff.
She took mine, but yeah, I was gonna say that my view changed a lot on homeless people. Like you see them in the movies and think that they're kind of greedy and they don't want anything, that they try and give back to you much more than you try and give to them.
Mine is that if you ever go on a trip with this church, make sure you have a spare and that it has air in the tire.
What I took from this is that homeless people aren't as scary as I thought they were. They're actually pretty nice people, so I'm not as afraid of them anymore. So I guess everybody's perspective has changed, including mine. But also that I love volunteering, and I learned that there's a city hall in Portland, so now I really want to go down there and volunteer there also.
I was reinforced to me how awesome all of these young people are.
I learned that most of these homeless people, they don't put themselves in this situation. That in San Francisco, the housing is so expensive, they just can't afford it. For the electricity, just the rent, the water, they just can't afford it. So they have to be forced to put themselves on the street. They don't put themselves in that situation.
What San Francisco helped me understand is that people can change very quickly. Like Sam, he was only 2 months off his addiction, being clean. And when he told us that, it shocked us all because he didn't seem like he even did anything wrong. It just changed quickly.
What I took is probably the same with everyone that they said about the homeless and what their views are on them. But also that volunteering is a lot more fun than I thought it'd be. You can make it fun, and if you have the right people, it's a lot of fun.
My biggest thing, I think, was that a positive attitude can literally change everything. Like, even just looking at someone and smiling at them, just because necessarily they're not homeless doesn't mean that you couldn't make someone's day just by them seeing God through you and a smile.
Mine's like everyone else's, but it's also watching these kids, and I can honestly say, we were grumpy at times, but these kids are amazing, and their heart is amazing, and how they would come together as a team, and they would go out there with a positive attitude, and they jumped right in, and they were supporting each other, they were loving on each other as well as the community, and that was one of the most amazing things, I think, for me to watch. So we have some really good kids.
Okay. I have to say what I learned was not only is there mission work or people in need in San Francisco, but it's all over. And I just know that I'm probably going to give my time and effort in trying to help out people here or just, I don't know, whatever God wants me to do.
My take home would probably be the same as everyone else's, a little bit all these other youth friends, but I'm going to try to change it up. It would be the same with Anna, is when you see an ambulance, don't see it as someone being hurt, but someone being helped.
Me and Steve took mine because, so I'll just say quickly also that I kind of knew before, but after this trip, I know for sure that we could put these guys into any situation and they would immediately rise to whatever was needed. I don't recall any complaining by any of them about anything they were asked to do or what time they were supposed to get up. Nothing. It was just great. I loved it. I love them. Blown away once again. And from the actual city experience, oh my gosh, I can't even think. Other than there are so many people, I think Adriana had mentioned this before, but we were all thinking about it, that are there to love and help people that you wouldn't even know walking by a building that that's what that building was for. They are there to, whether they know God or not, they all have a heart of love and to serve, and that's the common ground, is to love other people, because regardless of your situation, we're all people, and we all deserve respect and love.
Well, you're the last guy to pull this one down. Everybody here covered pretty much what I've learned down there with the homeless and stuff. They're people. You know, it's only 10% of them that make up the bad news that we hear about the homeless. A lot of those people down there are there because of the economic reasons. You know, when you're paying $700 to $1,000 a month for a 10 by 10 room, sharing a bathroom with up 30 to 50 other people, and you get your check the first of the month, you pretty much get a week in a room. That's about all you're going to get. And they're back on the streets for 3 weeks. So the Benny Martin down the street from where we're staying, the guy said he makes his money in the first week of the month, when everybody gets their food stamps and money, and he struggles for the next 3 weeks. So, and our kids were amazing. And they stepped up to every challenge that was put out there for them, and every boundary that was set, you know, to step outside their box, they stepped up to it, out of the box, and strived at what they did. They had great hearts.
Yeah, they did. They had awesome hearts, and what we saw there, we also see here in our own community, and we can serve in just as great of a way here. The needs are a lot the same. As I work here at the church, and I see a lot of the same things that we saw there, I see walk in here as well. And God has called us to serve, and He's called us to love those that, the least of these. And so I encourage you to serve one another, to love one another, to speak to each other. We all want to hear our name, and we all want to hear love from one another. So that's what my challenge and my to you, what we learned, is to treat one another and to share God's love in Rainier and the surrounding areas here, and to spread God's love here as well. Let's stand together, and Hannah is going to close us in prayer.
Where's Hannah?
Where's Hannah?
Oh, Hannah is also our little volunteer that we took all, you saw pictures everywhere. Okay, let's close.
We got a text during the service that Teresa Knox's dad is in the hospital with heart pain and issues, and he'll be having some testing, so she just would like us to pray for him.
Okay, let's close. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for this wonderful opportunity that you've had, and thank you for everyone who's a part of it and served for you. And I want to pray for Teresa Knox's dad and just whatever is going on, and I just want to pray that everything will be healed well. And thank you
for everyone who was at home and was praying for us as we were in San Francisco. And thank you for keeping us safe and healthy. And I just want to pray that it will inspire people to do good things and help us to continue to do good things to the community and serve for you. In Jesus' name, amen.